Here's the 0-1. This is going to be a tough play. Bryant, the Cubs win the World Series. Bryant makes the play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally won it all. 8-7-10.
Welcome to Club 120. The ultimate roundtable for diehard Cubs fans and lovers of all things sports and lifestyle.
Strike three, you're out.
Hosted by Neil and Nate, two former baseball players and coaches turned loud mouths with strong opinions and even stronger banner. Get ready for quick-hitting, time-answer segments packed with wit, laughs, and the occasional heated debate. From analyzing Cubs on-field action to diving into off-field drama, no topic is off limits. So grab your glove, pour a drink, and pull up a seat at Club 120, where the banner's quick, the takes are hot, and the Cubs always come first. Let's get started.
Play ball.
Hello, Cubs friends. It's 120. You know what time it is. Time to grab an old style and a bleacher seat. You're in Club 120. Let's talk Cubs. I'm Nate, and with me as always is a man whose favorite cookie is a hanging curveball. Neil, what's on today's lineup card?
White chocolate macadamia nut, if we're being honest. No, man, good show today. Episode 21. Man, we're gonna do a let me change the graphic here because that is last week's show.
Wow.
So let me upload a new graphic here.
Sure.
And let's go. There we go. Oh, that's not it either. Yep, that'll work. So the first topic is no love for Busch. Then we'll kind of fade into finding ways to win and how this team does different things, different ways. Talk about the farm a little bit and kind of get into some interesting foretelling, if we will, or even if you won't.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish up with the topic of the week, having a target on our back. So let's get started, man. No love for Michael Busch. Look, man, he's been steady. He's still getting platooned in favor of Justin Turner. Now, obviously, that's changed in the last couple of days with Tucker and his pesky index finger injury or ring finger, maybe. I don't know.
Interesting question, right? Would this change based on his weekend play coming into this week? And if Tucker was healthy, would he have gone against Gore?
Well, here's my thing. Busch has higher OPS. He's got better hard contact. He's got more defensive upside. I don't understand the limited reps. Like, is this just a case of Counsell? Is he over managing the splits, or is this clubhouse politics where you gotta get the old guy in the roster somehow?
Man, there's so many layers to this because the reality, if you go back and baseball's a statistical game, and a lot of this, as you say, is he playing the splits, is a statistical analysis. So let me give you a fun fact from last year. Michael Busch had 89 at bats last year against lefties. Was his batting average higher or lower versus lefties or righties?
Well, I know you're throwing this out there, so he must have been higher against lefties.
He hit 258 last year against righties, and he hit against lefties, 258 against lefties, and 246 against righties. Now, obviously, there was 400 plus at bats for right-handers, so it's a smaller sample. But the reality is, a 260 hitter in today's major league lineup is a plus guy. So if the statistics last year showed he could do this, why wouldn't we continue to develop a left-handed bat? So that's my biggest question in this entire deal. It's not like he hit 106 against lefties last year and he was just an abomination. So back to your question, are we playing clubhouse politics? Do we have to get the old guy in there? Are we playing the splits way too much? Are we giving too much credit for that? I think the answer is yes. The answer is yes to all of that, and it's very simple. Busch wants his veteran in there, and Justin Turner, for all accounting purposes, and I've said this from the beginning, honestly, since before Japan, Justin Turner is loved wherever he goes. And you can see it in the clubhouse. You can see it in the dugout. So I have nothing against Justin Turner's person as a person, but we're trying to win a pennant. And we're leaving a left-handed bat who clearly can grind on some lefties as well, and a plus defender on the bench for 2 games a week on average right now. And it's actually getting more because more teams are starting to line it up where it's like, we'll call up a lefty. So we have a problem, and I don't know why there's no love. What is there some sort of a you said somebody's got pictures on somebody. I mean, we're at that level now because it just doesn't make much sense because it's not like Justin Turner's out there producing a home run a week for us.
No, I think right now you're risking stunning the growth of Michael Busch. I think you're messing with his rhythm, messing with his confidence at this point.
Yeah.
I do also feel like we're in a point where we got to win now, right? We need a win now mentality as a manager, not stubborn loyalty. Like I feel like last year we had a lot of loyalty based managing.
Wasn't that Ross's problem?
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know what Ross's problem was. I don't want to go there.
Out of there, the bro mentality coming out of that clubhouse was pretty thick, and they were kind of thick as thieves. And I don't know what Craig's married to. Sometimes I feel like he has certain tendencies that he sticks to, and then sometimes he just as we'll get to down the road here, finding ways to win. It seems like at times he does find ways to put things together. So, I hope that Michael Busch's performance in the last week has shown that he deserves this every day. And he didn't do anything last year. Let's be honest. He didn't do anything last year to deserve this platoon. So let's start there. And maybe that's why we're all upset, is because we were really looking forward to Michael Busch year 2, development and blossoming.
I get it.
So
I understand what's happening. I understand the veteran presence and all that stuff, but I don't have to like it. I think what I would rather see if we're gonna give anybody reps, this Jonathan Long kid's a freaking donkey. Like, what are we doing? Like, if we're gonna give anybody reps, let's give him reps.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of foreshadowing that we've been throwing out here. So let's get to it. The Cubs have been very creative lately in winning ball games. And it seems to be that they've put together a team that can kind of win in any weather, any stadium, and against pretty much any pitching. How do you feel about the Cubs' ability to fly the W this year?
Man, what? Here's the thing. I really love that we don't rely on home runs to win games. I feel like situational hitting is much better than last year. Defense, base running, they all turn games around. We saw it the opening game versus Washington, where PCA stole a base for someone else. Like just by being a menace, he literally was on third base and stole first base on a routine ground ball. And I think that's a testament to how this team has grown and how they find ways to win other ways. I would like to see it be even better, though. Like, I get it, it's the first inning, but last night, we're in a situation where we start the game bases loaded, no outs. And how many runs do we get?
That was the game.
That's the point, is like, I feel like we're playing this game as if, the old cliche sayings about life, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Well, a runner on third in the second inning's not guaranteed either. It's like, I feel like if we get there with nobody out, we should do whatever we have to do to push a guy across.
Yeah.
But I think we played with this mentality, like, okay, we got bases loaded, nobody out. It's just the first inning. Why are we don't have to manufacture here. And looking back, that would have been a game changer last night.
It had all the feel. You're right. So the game had that feel where my best is versus your best, and we had that opportunity to get him in the first, and we didn't. and he locked in, and he's got that kind of stuff. He'll strike out the side just because. And we went pop out KK. And from then, that was it. And I tweeted about it. I said, we're going to let him off the hook. And he went and shoved for the rest of the game. So that was a tough one. But the reality is that the Cubs are finding wonderful ways to win games. We're getting creative. We got an opener for Ben Brown now, who seems to have a problem in the first. And now we've got Drew P coming out again on Thursday to open a game, which is fantastic. You see the development of Cade Horton, who's a dude who faces a lineup of all lefties and just says, you know what, screw the sweeper. Watch this changeup. The wind's been blowing in at Wrigley for basically 97% of the time already this year. Again, we're still winning ball games at home. We're stealing bags. We've got a power game. The bullpen's starting to come together that'll hold close games to, tight. All the tools are there. It's just execution at this point, and some of that does come back to what we talked about with Craig. He's got to manage this appropriately, and it seems to me right now he does have at least a finger on the pulse of that rotation, and deploying the right guys to come out of the bullpen to match up with it. And it's been a pretty good couple weeks here. So, we do have to give some credit to Craig at times, and we'll tip our hat occasionally to being creative on ways to win ball games. It's 162 of them. You got to figure out how to win close to 100 of them. So he's doing a good job of manufacturing some opportunities.
Okay, a pulse check on the 2025 Cubs farm system. Who's rising, who's falling, who's knocking on the door. Owen Casey hitting his way into the conversation. Moises Ballesteros. Riley McGuire situation was weird. We needed a catcher. We opted for Riley McGuire instead of Moises, which I think speaks very loudly about where his defense is and whether they think he's ready to be a defensive catcher at the big league level. And then some under radar guys. I don't think they're under the radar, but most the average listener might not know who these guys are. And any high rated picks that you think are underperforming?
Sure, absolutely. Let's just work backwards there. Casey's starting to heat up a little bit. He's hitting 243 on the year. He's got 7 jacks. Would love to see him have a really nice quote second half of that AAA season, because their season's a little shorter. So they're kind of at their close to halfway point here. Slow start, obviously, for him. The one I'm really worried about right now, honestly, is the Jag. He's had a good week, but he still has a 3-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. There's a lot of swing and miss there right now. And if he's going to push this lineup anytime in the next 12 to 24 months, he's really got to start barreling up some baseballs and some tough counts against some against some pitchers' pitches. And he's just not doing that right now. So a little worried about that one, but he's an athlete and he's streaky. So hopefully he gets on a hot run here and looks good, because we all like him. There's not a reason to not like Kevin Alcantara. A couple of 3 names. You brought one up earlier. Let's hit him real quick. Jonathan Long is playing his way into the player of the year in AAA type of numbers right now. 344, 9 home runs. The development of the power has really been his biggest gains in seeing him go from, slapping some doubles and things like that. He's not a speed guy, right? So he's got to be a double or nothing kind of guy, and he's really embraced that. But to go along with it, he's hitting at a high clip. 344 is not anything to write about, not anything to skip a note home about. He's now hitting better than Moises Ballesteros, which is he's down to 341. So that's there. A couple names worth keeping up. And if you follow Cubs Twitter, Jackson Wiggins is all over it. And he has been promoted to Knoxville to AA. And he is on fire right now. Best note for him is not only does he have mid-90s stuff, but he's already addressing the one thing that kind of held Cade Horton down a little bit, which was the walks. His walk-to-strikeout ratio is really healthy right now. And it seems that he's trusting his stuff and just shoving it in there, and that's fantastic. And the last one that you'll hear coming up, because probably based on the Cubs situation with shortstop and middle infield going forward, one of the few of these guys is going to get moved, and this guy's the hottest. So if there's a player to go get, he's probably going to be included in a package. He's at high A right now. His name's Jefferson Rojas. we did a little spot on him a couple months ago. He's hitting 291 at high A and showing all kinds of pop and pizzazz all over the field, and he's a fun one, and he's going to be probably wanted to be included in any prospect package that goes for any level of trade that we're looking for. So keep an eye on those guys as we go forward.
Yeah, I do want to jump back to the two questions. One, the Moises Ballesteros, Riley McGuire.
Reese
a lot
McGuire.
of people were upset. Yeah, Reese McGuire. Sorry, a lot of people were really upset when I don't want to call it when that move was made, I guess, but it was an unforeseen thing. Obviously, Amaya goes down, and Kelly had like a 2-day illness. I don't know if he got the stomach bug there or something, got the flu, but they needed somebody behind the dish. And what are your thoughts there? Do you think Moises will ever get there defensively?
Well, here's an unpopular opinion. Are you ready? Moises Ballesteros is a DH forever. He's never going to catch a game in the bigs.
No, that's what I was getting at. That's what I was asking. I think that
and I think that was the spot on deal. When we saw him for the week, it was clear and apparent he has no wheels. He's never going to have wheels. And in a lineup chocked full of speed, he was an anchor. And as much as I love the kid, if there's a package that gets us something of super value, I might be okay with him going to another organization because we're not built like him. We don't have a David Ortiz slot in our lineup. Okay.
So that's what I was getting at was, I think he's a DH. I don't think he'll ever be a defensive asset.
I think that's
for the Cubs.
And unfortunately, that move right there, was actually worse for his prospect development as far as his value than calling him up and letting him struggle a little bit with our staff. Right? Because that basically just told everybody else he's not ready.
So this is the last thing we're going to do on this topic before we move on. Which prospect could actually help this 2025 squad down the stretch?
This is an odd one, but at some point you're going to need a bat and an arm. You're kind of going to look at that. I would say this: if Jackson Wiggins flies through AAA and spends about a month here at AA and ends up at AAA at some point, if we get to the point where we need somebody like that with a 96 to 98 with a slide piece that just wipes dudes out, if he shows that he's not going to walk the earth, that's probably your best bet, is him ascending all the way to the bigs this year. He's got that kind of stuff.
All right. Well, next topic, make one trade today. If you, as an organization, if you're Jed Hoyer and you have to make one trade today, not at the deadline, but today,
right?
What's the one thing you're going to get?
Yeah. This is a clear and apparent deal because we're already playing games with the rotation by Drew Pomerantz starting again on Thursday for the second time in a week. We need a starting pitcher. You have to. You can mix and match in October. You can mix and match after the fourth inning, but you need a guy that can go get you 4 to 5 no matter what. And we only have Matthew Boyd right now, and Shota when he's healthy. Quite honestly, I don't know if J-Mo can do it. I know that they've already basically said, Ben Brown can't do it because he needs a starter. So maybe that's a way to do it. I asked you this the other day, and I'll finish the question because we didn't kind of get through it. But who would be the third starter right now? It would be Drew Pomerantz, and then he would go with Brown or Horton or whoever behind him. That's game 3. Like that's what game 3 of a playoff scenario looks like. Shota in 1, Boyd in 2, and then I would throw Pomerantz and then throw those 2 rookies behind him, and then your fourth game comes to J-Mo because you have to balance yourself out there. But we need a starting pitcher, and that's flat out. You can't go along without Justin Steele's rotation spot just being filled by a starter, an opener, quote unquote, and then we just piece things together. We don't have look at everybody. Look at Philly. Look at New York. Look at the Dodgers. Look at everybody. We don't have that. And so until we go get another piece to go next to Shota, that's what we need. What do you think we need to go with right now? If you made a trade today, what would you go get?
Oh man, I mean that's tough because I mean I kind of agree with you on everything that you said about the starter, but I also think that we I won't say a complete joke because we're 15 games above 500. Like we need to remember that, right? Like let's if you're out there listening, I want you to understand. Like we understand we're 15 games above 500 here, but I will say I feel like the largest roll of duct tape is holding together the seventh, eighth, and ninth inning as far as our bullpen goes. Like I'm not kidding. Like I am not kidding when I say, like I have no idea who they're trotting out there next. Like you just never know. Like I mean, is Jan going to be all upset because Presley's going to take the seventh today, or is he going to take the eighth? Maybe he'll take the ninth. I think we've settled into Palencia taking the ninth. I think we've settled in there. I thought that last week, and then the following game, Presley takes the ninth. I have no idea where we're at, to be honest with you. And then you got Thielbar. Thielbar sometimes is the first one out off.
Right.
Sometimes he's not. You got Keller out there. I mean, I would like to see some consistency when it comes to the back half of the bullpen.
I think you're right. I think they missed one guy. I think they're missing one or two guys to make that possible because here's the thing. They do get consistent, but then it happens in back-to-back games, so then none of those guys are available, right? So then it's who threw 9 or less pitches, and you're available today. If you threw 15 or more, you're not available today. And now what we have seen is Keller and Palencia actually go back-to-back days and get 3 outs and get 3 outs, which is huge, right? That was the knock on Palencia early was they tried it once and he gave up 3 or 4 and it was like, well, he's just not there. And now he's forced into it and he's got that mentality. Great. And he's growing into it. Are you okay going forward with Danny P as the Cubs closer from here on out, regardless of what trades are made or however the health wise and who comes up and down, et cetera? Are you okay with Danny Palencia being the Cubs closer for the remainder of 25?
No. And I'm only saying that because I don't know which version of Porter Hodge will come back.
Okay. So if Porter Hodge is a dog and he comes back the way he, 96 to 99.
I don't know. Maybe I like Porter Hodge in the 8th and Palencia in the 9th. I like it. So I'm okay with it. I got one for you.
Okay.
If you have to make one trade today,
one
trade, I want an actual name. Who are you trading for today? You don't have to tell me what you're giving up for them. You just have to tell me who you're going to get today. And they have to be somewhat available. You can't just say, oh, well, I'm going to go get Paul Skeens. Like it has to be someone who is probably going to be from a franchise that's going to be selling.
Right. Which, you think about it, we're watching a Juan Soto trade. Like that's who we're playing this week, right? Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams, like anybody that they've got that's playing any level of ball that's under the age of 25 came from that Juan Soto trade for the Nationals. So that Skeens trade would, they threw it out there last night and they were talking about it. So, man, golly, I would say in a heartbeat, Sandy, but at the same point, he's not throwing like he wants to pitch. So I'm scared about that. Is he hurt? Is he just butthurt about playing in Miami every day? I don't know. Now the lefty that they have, he threw well against the Cubs twice. I wouldn't mind going after him. The one guy that I want is the Ryan kid from Minnesota. And I hate talking about other teams that are actually in contention, but I'm watching them vigorously every day to drop under 500 so that we can go get him. Because I think he's got the kind of stuff that's like next level. Plus he has control for a few years. So it fits the mold of what the Cubs would be willing to spend some capital on. It's not a rental, if you will. Those would be the two names that I would throw out there. Sandy, if he starts throwing again, where he's throwing like a Cy Young, and the Ryan kid out of Minnesota is a name to watch, and I'm watching for that. If I had to make it today, gosh dang, man, that's such a hard, you'd have to be going after somebody that's way under 500, and that's Miami, Colorado, Oakland right now. And the only kid I want out of Oakland is Mason Miller. The kid I want out of Colorado is none. And, there it is. So, I would do a twofer out of Tampa Bay to throw it out there. I would do the Fairbanks and the little kid. I do Fairbanks for the bullpen and Little for the rotation, and give up 4 or 5 prospects for that, and put a package together and get those 2 kids out of Tampa Bay.
The Diamondbacks are going to be sellers. I'm going for Zach Gallen.
Zach Gallen. Yeah, you would love him. You'll love Zach Gallen walking the earth. I can't wait for the first Cubs start where he walks 2 in a row, and then you just lose your mind. Like that guy. No, I'm out on Zach Gallen. I think he's your favorite. Quote. What did you call him? A mental marshmallow. I think is what you call those guys.
All right.
I think he falls right in your wheel.
All right. So this segment's a little bit different. Just a fun little segment. The best ballpark you've been to and the ballpark you haven't been that is on your bucket list. So what's the best ballpark you've been to?
Man, PNC is so fun. It's got such a great vibe to it. I wish they had a better team, quite honestly. Right on the river. The food's great. The concourse is great. Park is clean. PNC is fantastic. The best atmosphere would be Philly when they're good. Like it's such a small, like tight ballpark, and there's just a buzz the whole time. If you listen to a Philly game, it sounds kind of like Wrigley. Like there's just always a buzz. It's always at like a 6, right? And whereas like PNC Park, it's like a 1.5. Like you can hear the foul balls hitting the empty seats and stuff. You know, like it's a little awkward.
Yeah. Here's the thing. PNC is my favorite. That I aesthetically and you don't have to worry about losing there. That's my favorite part about it. like when you go there as an opposing fan, like that's no joke. I mean, I had the opportunity all 3 days to go to Cincinnati when the Cubs were in town, and I just didn't want to go because I didn't feel good about any of them. And I didn't want to have to hear it.
Yeah.
So,
what's next for you? What's one on your list of you'd love to check off? You've been to a couple interesting ones that I haven't been to. In fact, let's just take a quick one, like 30 seconds. What was your thought about going to Montreal back in the day?
Oh man, I mean that of course that was such a weird game. But again, it was one of those that 4,000 people were at, and we paid for literally a $4 ticket. And the lady at the lady who sold the ticket told us, like, pay for the game. Barry Bonds is in town. He's going for the home run record. Literally buy the cheapest seat. And after the first half inning, they will make an announcement. It's nationally televised. They'll make an announcement for you to come around home plate. And we were literally 3 rows off the net. And yeah, I mean, it was a great experience seeing Bonds that up close and personal. But I didn't like, it had old Riverfront Stadium vibes.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I mean, they had the Olympics there, for crying out loud.
It wasn't a baseball park.
No. Yeah, it was not. Yeah, I've been my bucket list. I've got to get to San Francisco.
Yep.
I want to see one there. I want to see McCovey Cove. I want to see, I've been to a lot, but I haven't been to that one. So
that's one right there. It's on mine too, and that's the one I want to see next. I also am interested in this year's team versus this year's Giants team. I think I tweeted it out earlier before the Giants series. If we met in the playoffs, that would be the first 2 parks. They would be the parks would play a role. The San Francisco's park really does play a role after dark because of that marine layer. It's amazing that Bonds hit so many home runs there, and the tribute to his ability. But it's a fun one. I would be interested in seeing that. So that's there. One of the new ones, while we get to that, is Atlanta. We went there. They have the whole stadium scene around it, the restaurants, the bars, everything. Basically, get to the park and then have dinner, get all the things. And that's kind of the new design. They did that in Arlington for the Rangers. The only thing downside with that was the barbecue joint and left kept throwing smoke the whole game. And I was hungry the whole time. It was awful. So.
Yeah, you would think that was got to interfere with the fly ball at some point. Like,
you don't see it on TV, but that park is hazy and smoky the whole night, and it's just brisket. That's all it is. It's just brisket, folks.
All right, man. There's the target on our back. I think this topic came up because we saw the most recent news with the Tiger series coming up and how they set the starter out games. What's his name? Screwball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they delayed his start so that he could pitch against the Cubs, and I think this is just the beginning. I think we're going to see that from here on out. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah, they skipped the Shy Sox. Scooble skips the Shy Sox and gets the Cubs on the weekend. It's the first instance of that this year, and yeah, I think we're going to see that, especially as these off days get reset. We get closer to the All-Star break. That's in sight. So once we get there, when you get on the back end of it, I think teams are going to really load up with, okay, when do we have these matchups? When are we calling up this particular kid to get a start so that, we can push a starter back for the Dodgers or for the Cubs or for the Phillies Mets type of thing. But on top of that, Neil, this is the craziest part. Every week there are dudes with 5 ERAs and coming into Wrigley and just dealing, and whether they're just throwing their best stuff. And I think we're getting everybody's best shot right now. Is it because we're exciting? Is it because we're that good? Is it because we're better than the Dodgers or the Phillies or the Mets? I mean, where do we stand for real? Like, do we really deserve this target right now? And why is it there?
Well, I think it's twofold, right? When you're talking about at Wrigley, I think the difference is, imagine you play for Pittsburgh and you've got 8,000 people in attendance for a home game, or you're one of these, or you're one of these teams playing in a freaking minor league park or whatever, and then you come to Wrigley and there's more people watching BP before the game than that are attending your games, and the bleachers are going nuts just when the starting pitcher walks out of the dugout to the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
Bleacher Jeff starts banging on the Bosch sign, and the fans start going nuts, and we're cheering for Colin Ray as he walks the 350 feet out to the bullpen 45 minutes before the game starts.
Yeah.
And I think these other teams are like, okay, all right, and I think it's a thing, like it just gets you going. Like, they announce the other team's lineup and our fans are already in their seats booing.
Yeah.
Like 20 minutes before the game. And I think
Wrigley
that just kind of lights a fire,
Yeah, that's a good point. Wrigley does bring something that even LA or New York doesn't bring. And that's the fans at 1:20 or at 6:40 or at 7:05. Whatever time that game starts, it's 75% full. Whereas if you look at LA, if you look at New York, both New Yorks, if you look at Boston, at game time, there may be 25 to 40% people. And they're sitting in traffic is what they're doing. They're not there. Whereas in Chicago, we're there an hour before, easy.
And it's 90% public transit, right? So like everybody's there on time. Like if you're late, it's on you. It's not on traffic. It's not on parking. It's on you. I mean,
the train waits for no one.
You had one too many beers at Sluggers. That's why you're late. Like that's what it is. Like it's not traffic. It's not parking. It's literally something that you did to cause you to be late. So does this add though to the Cubs swagger? Is this a good thing? Is this going to sharpen them as they get everyone's best shot come playoff time? Is this going to be something like this is old hat for these guys because they've been facing everyone's best from April?
Yeah, I mean, look at the front half of the schedule. We've talked about it ad nauseum here on multiple episodes. If this hasn't killed us yet, it's only making us stronger. If April didn't kill us, if the beginning of May didn't kill us, if this run through Detroit and back to Philly doesn't kill us, it's only going to make us stronger. So I believe that this team has plenty of swagger. It just drips off of PCA all over everybody else. There's a coolness to Kyle Tucker. There's a coolness to Dansby Swanson and their game. The only thing I think that we don't have right now is that coming out of our starting rotation. And that's the scariest part, is that we've got it everywhere else, but right now our rotation is kind of being duct taped together. And it doesn't, Zach Wheeler ain't running out there. Tark Skubal isn't running out there every fifth day. We have a small problem there where we do not scare the crap out of anybody on the mound right now. And that gives everybody a chance to feel like they can play ball. Like, oh man, these Cubs can score 25 runs a night. But if we just throw our best at them, we might have a chance at a game.
Yeah. All right. We are way over time. So here's the deal. We are going to put together a GoFundMe to get Nate a slingshot so that he can take care of whatever cockfight is going on outside of his balcony.
I couldn't tell if you could hear that. Unbelievable. Got
Yeah,
some grass out here just trying to get through the rainstorm. Honestly, unbelievable, folks.
Yeah, so we're gonna take up a GoFundMe. We're gonna invest in a slingshot so that he can continue to record on his balcony. Yeah, that bird will have a target on its back for sure. So anyway, that's our episode for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for spending part of your week with us. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff at Club 120 Show. Check us out online, www.club120show.com. That's all for us. Go Cubs, go.
I think that bird's a Cardinals fan.
This has been Club 120. Neil and Nate have practically spent their entire lives doing something centered around baseball. And with these guys, you're going to get quick-hitting, time-answer segments packed with wit, laughs, and, yes, heated debates. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, you can find us on all social media platforms at Club 120 Show. And, of course, the website at www.club120show.com. Until next time, go Cubs, go!